This week we will be reviewing Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, and with movie sequels of this ilk, it's always a question of, is it going to be a mixed bag, a cash grab, or just more of the same, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Stick around. Hello and welcome to Middle Aged Geeks. I'm one of your hosts, Daz. That's Phil, and this week we are reviewing Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette. Same guys returning for this one. And it's starring Samara Weaving, Catherine Newton, Elijah Wood, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Sean Hatosy, David Cronenberg, and lots of other assorted members. And the basic synopsis for this is, after surviving one deadly game, Grace and her sister Faith must now outrun 4 rival families competing for a powerful throne with the tagline, winner takes all. So yeah, before we really dive into the weeds on this one, let's get your initial thoughts coming out of the cinema. What did you think about this one?
But this was fun, man. Like I've mentioned before, I think I've mentioned this movie a couple of times on here before. Like I enjoy the director's style. Like they've done a couple of other ones that I've liked as well. The movie Abigail, which I enjoyed, which also had Catherine Newton and Kevin Durand in it. And then the previous 2 Scream movies, they had done those as well. And
Okay.
I'm not sure why they weren't involved in this one, but I enjoyed it. Like I don't think it's as good as the first one. I think because a lot of times when something like this happens and the game expands, they make it something bigger. It's not really as much fun once it gets bigger. Like kind of, if they do the ring and then all of a sudden there's rings and it's fucking all around the world and it's online and all this shit. Like I think her escape room was actually quite fun, the first one, and then it's escape room champion of fucking competition of champions or some shit. Once you start expanding, sometimes it can be a little not the best, but at the same time, I really, really enjoyed it. And there's a lot of laugh out loud moments. It will never not be funny to see someone explode. Like it's just always hilarious, whether it's in a fucking vampire movie or whatever it happens to be. Someone exploding like that and in just one go is just fantastic. And I enjoyed it. And I liked that. I really liked their double act, Samara Weaving and Catherine Newton. I really like their on-screen chemistry, the two of them. She's just great, Samara Weaving. She really is. I'm a big fan. What about you? Because you watched both of them this week.
Yeah, because it was only when you mentioned reviewing Ready or Not 2, I was like, what the fuck is Ready or Not 1? I'd never even heard of this movie. And I suspected that it was just because maybe it was a horror movie you liked and I just completely bypassed it whatsoever. But I watched the first one Friday night, and we're recording on Sunday, so I watched this one a few hours ago. And I loved the first one. Yeah, it was just like total shock. Wasn't scary at all. It was just like, why did I not see this movie? And this one, I thought this one was a lot of fun. It's like a sequel that kind of plays it very safe and doubles down on what works the first time, while adding the Faith character, her sister. I guess what I liked, Samara Weaving carrying the entire thing on her shoulder pretty much. Again, she's fantastic, and I didn't know who the fuck she was before I saw this movie. I'd never seen her before. It's just like, oh my God.
Really?
She's so, I just like going,
oh, well, yeah.
I kind of maybe saw her face. I've never seen her in anything.
I think she's like, I think she's Hugo Weaving's niece or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, pretty sure it's Hugo Weaving's niece.
Yeah, she's incredible in the first movie and incredible in this one as well. The cast is great, but I think it's not as good as the ensemble in the first movie. But there are some genuinely funny moments and set pieces in this. Like you said, I never knew I needed people spontaneously combusting on film, and I'll never tire of it. I'd watch this movie again just to watch that happen because they double down on that in this one, and it's never not funny. It's never not enjoyable. You could end up making the 5th, 6th, 7th in this franchise and just have 10 minutes of people just exploding, like just the blood, and it's just so over the top, but it's so fucking...
and it's the reaction too, like especially Catherine Newton's reaction to it happening is just fucking, she's brilliant.
It's great. But yeah, it's like, I guess what didn't work is kind of what you said. For me, that's the fact that they're playing it so safe. The novelty factor does kind of wear off a little bit. And obviously, it's second movie, it's gone a little bigger. The location, instead of being kind of a mansion, now it's a whole resort. And you lose that kind of claustrophobic nature of things, which I think works against it. Some set pieces are brilliant. There's one in a ballroom that we'll kind of get to that with pepper spray. It's just one of the best things I've seen in ages. Just laugh my ass off. And but there's some other set pieces, like the set piece in the woods. It's just painful. It's like it's tacked on, just like you could easily lose that and get the runtime down. And you know they do mix it up for the kind of last act. They kind of they make a few big swings in terms of the story.
And maybe that's more what I meant when I meant expanding it is that we're getting a lot more into the lore. You know, it's kind of kept in the first one. You're getting bits and pieces. You are, but like in this, they really shove it down your throat exactly what everything is. So there's not really a whole lot of mystery by the time you finish this movie.
So yeah, sticking to that in terms of like the kind of premise and the story. I did like it does rethread this. It's the same kind of idea. You can survive until dawn against people trying to kill you, and that works very well. And they do kind of expand the lore. There's a lot of explaining of like the different kind of clauses in this fucking big giant book that Elijah Wood has. And thank God Elijah Wood is explaining all this stuff because he is just a fucking delight. Like he's obviously like a lawyer for these people, and he's a pretty evil guy for evil people, but he's just so adorable. You just don't want him anything to happen to him. You're just like, oh, you're fucking great. He's so just underplays the whole thing, and it just works really, really well. But in terms of the kind of premise and story, I know they expanded towards the last act, but did you find that kind of the novelty kind of wearing off, apart from people exploding?
No, I mean, I found what I found annoying was that, like, for the most part, Elijah Wood puts the exposition and stuff across, and that's fine. But for some parts of the exposition, I found were a little bit ham-fisted. They were a little bit awkward. I think there was one especially with Sarah Michelle Gellar, and I can't remember her brother's name. The actor is what's the brother's name? Oh, Sean Hosey, who's from The Pit.
Titus.
Yeah, Titus. Like I didn't really get exactly where his character seems to warp into what he is, you know, from the start and finish to the start. It's a bit weird, but I think they were doing some exposition, and I think maybe it was like A.D. Ord exposition, and it just felt really awkward. There's a few of those because there's a lot to explain. They're going in here assuming you have not seen the first one, whereas I think having that thing at the start was enough, because the Samara Weaving you see in the trailer is continuing straight on from the first one. Have those couple of little flashbacks and her explaining to her sister. That's enough. We don't really need much more than that. But I feel that they're trying to make us, you know, maybe these people are idiots that they need it really explained out to them. I think you could have left some of that exposition out. But no, like I it's these things, and it's never going to be really rich on plot, you know, because it's comedy horror. It's not. You can have a complex horror movie, and that's great, but it's not supposed to be that deep, you know, and that's why it's just a lot of. That's what it is, just a lot of fun. That's why I just kind of turn my brain off and try to not get too wrapped up in what the rules of the game are.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, you touched on there, like I loved how it started straight in the beginning shot is the last shot of the first movie, which I thought was fantastic. And then it turns into like a single continuous shot, kind of as she goes into the ambulance, and then the way the flashbacks are told when she's getting CPR. That was cool because you're getting flashbacks during that sequence, and I thought that was just very clever. And then obviously they have to expand a little bit of that when she's talking to her sister. And even at that point, you're just like, I think it's just kind of giving a bit too much, you know. But it is like, obviously, if you're going to be rethreading the same kind of premise in terms of, you know, you got to stay awake until dawn and avoid all these people trying to kill you, you're going to want to try and expand it a certain amount. And yeah, for me, same thing. It worked in parts, but there are other parts where it's kind of an explain-a-thon. You're kind of explaining clauses. Oh, well, you can't kill this, but you will kill this when that happens, but you then can't kill a family member or something. And it's just very, very, it gets bogged down a little bit there. But let's start on characters then. Samara Weaving. Yeah, she's my new favorite actress. She's just like, she's obviously drop dead gorgeous, but she just looks so amazing when she's just in bits, her hair all over the place, covered in blood, and you're just going, you're just amazing. I could just watch you all day fucking long. And she's still kind of a badass, and she does a lot of crazy things, but the fact that it does turn into kind of a two-hander with her and her sister, I thought that was fantastic. They have a couple of nice emotional scenes together, and the fact that she didn't have family in the first one, and they retcon it for this one, makes sense because it adds a new dynamic to their double act, and there's a couple of brutal sequences between them, and brutal sequences, and then bonding and chatting over the past while you're picking glass out of her and stuff like that. I thought it was fucking great.
And I think it's explained. It's an easily explained retcon to bring her family into it. I'm along with you, man. I loved her physical acting. I thought she's just fantastic, because obviously they're getting seriously put through the ringer and both of them are getting thrown around the place. But it's just the reaction, when she's picking shrapnel out of her back and stuff, and everything. Just the manic look, as you said, as someone who's in a wedding dress covered in blood, and she's just nailing it. She's just awesome. I thought she was great. I would have loved to see more of Kevin Durand, because I absolutely love him.
Yeah,
he's great. Every time I see him, every time I see him in the cast list, I'm always delighted. But it is interesting what you say though about the actors, because like we've got your man Adam Brody and Andy McDowell and stuff in the first one,
and Michael Cherney, guy from Mission Impossible.
But in this one, I think like Sarah Michelle Gellar is probably the biggest star in this, which is outside of our two main girls. But it's surprising that with a sequel, and the first one is quite loved, that there isn't someone huge in it. There's nothing against them. But do you reckon it would have taken away from our main stars if they had someone huge as one of the bad guys?
Yeah, I just think actually Sarah Michelle Gellar and her brother, they get too much screen time. And that just means that the rest of the ensemble cast, they don't really get a few scenes, and a lot of their scenes and their actions and their dialogue are kind of to punctuate a joke or to do kind of minor stuff plot wise. Where it's the two leads, and then it's kind of Sarah Michelle Gellar and I keep forgetting his name, Sean. Titus, and then kind of Elijah Wood, and it's almost like the two of them against the two twins, more so, where the first one it was everyone just had a really more balanced screen time and got more time to shine, where here I just didn't enjoy it as much. Some of the deaths and stuff like that were great, but I just would have liked to
and I think the other characters were and the other characters that is on that, they were actually more fun. You wouldn't mind so much if they were getting so much play, if they were actually really, great crack to enjoy. Like Nestor Carbonell's character is hilarious. I thought he was fantastic. What's his name? El Cado or whatever they're called, their family name. I thought fantastic. And even Kip.
I wanted to see more of him.
His name is. They're funny. I would have liked more of them and less of the other two, but I think they wanted it to be this 2-on-2 struggle kind of thing.
Yeah, that's exactly. But like probably I'd say it's the two main leads, and then the brother and sister, and then the rest are really in a subcategory of their own. Because Nestor is he was hilarious. He's the most incompetent attempt at being a sniper I've ever seen in my fucking life. It's just I would love to see a bit more of that.
He's about to pull the trigger, and it's just the clip just falls out of the gun.
It's just can't fucking hit shit. It's really good. But let's stick then on Sarah Michelle Gellar and Sean. Sarah Michelle Gellar she's great. I like seeing her in kind of villainous roles. Just reminded me of when she did that Cruel Intentions remake.
Kind
of questionable movie, but she was great in it, just being somebody who's known for being that kind of fluffy, buffy character that has kind of a sinister turn. And she's always great. But it's her brother, he goes from one of the first sequences being really kind of almost bossed around and slapped by his dad.
He's a little bitch.
He's a total little bitch. And to say he takes a turn, he takes a turn into an unhinged fucking absolute psychopath, which he plays incredibly well. It's no spoiler to say he meets his demise at some point, but I was almost cheering in the cinema, just going, fuck yeah, because he's such a hateable, evil twat that when he gets his comeuppance, you're really you're loving it. But it's just how we got there is a bit whoa, what the fuck is going on here? That was quite strange. What did you think of the two of them? Do you think they worked as a brother and sister kind of duo?
I did. I did. I liked the scenes. Just I think, as you said, as they were overused, and also, yeah, like I think I said that the very opening part about the same as you, with the fact that his character change is just so drastic. And I guess you could say it's something with somebody, snapping, but he's almost more conniving and scheming and stuff as well than he was earlier. Like, so his character change is not just his emotional outburst of being bullied his whole life and all of a sudden, he's this monster. He's also quite conniving, and yeah. So I don't know, but I did like the two of them. I thought their scenes were good together. It was great to see their David Cronenberg in it. I just wasn't expecting that at all.
I couldn't believe that. I'm just like, is that David Cronenberg in the bed? It's quite fucking weird.
That was great.
Yeah.
But there's no one in it really characters that I massively disliked. I thought a lot of them were quite fun. Like Catherine Newton, like she worked with these directors on Abigail as well. So and she's just fantastic. A lot of people might know her from probably just Quantumania, maybe. She plays. No, don't watch it. Don't watch it. You better not. But I thought she was great. They're like I said at the start, their double act between the two of them is just great. They must have. I assume they have great chemistry off screen. So it's fantastic on screen. Did you enjoy the two of them playing off each other?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It just brought a bit of an emotional weight to the movie. Not in a tear. You're not going to tear up or anything like that watching it.
Yeah. You're
just wondering that can they stick it, because at the start when she arrives in, it's like, right, okay. And I hadn't seen the trailer for this or anything, so I didn't really know what was happening, and I didn't know if she was going to stick around. And I was delighted she did, because especially I just love in movies when characters are on the run and they're handcuffed. I think it's always it just gets in your head, just like, fuck, that is quite tricky. But there is a moment when the two of them they find the wall at one point surrounding the resort, and they're like, oh, we need to get over this wall. And her sister goes, but wait, we're handcuffed. I'm just like, yeah, but there's trees beside you. At least try and fucking climb a tree, and maybe you might just get over the fucking wall. But yeah, no, she was very good. She held her own. They had some decent kind of action set pieces between the two, but it's some of the softer moments in between the madness that really worked. And in movies like this, sometimes that can be the weaker element when the writing kind of comes to the fore a bit, and you're like, oh, I don't know, just stick to the blood and guts. But no, I thought it was quite nice because it's believable. Their whole why she wasn't in her life and why they're kind of angry at each other, and it's good writing that way where you kind of both sides kind of make sense. So I kind of enjoyed that, and the fact that her sister gets a really epic kind of beatdown in a hallway. Just kind of, when you see a female character rolling around the ground with a mouthful of blood, just makes you think back to like True Romance and Gandolfini and Patricia Arquette in the bathroom when he's just beating the shit out of her. That was a highlight in this movie as well. I thought she acted that fucking fantastically. Okay, so yeah, let's get stuck then into some of the horror elements, the blood and guts.
I mean, this is
what you're coming to the movie for.
Yeah, and I think that it's all practical. Well, pretty much. I mean, majority of it is practical effects, and they don't hold back. And I think that's great. Like, there's some laugh out loud deaths in it. Some of them are just gross. There's one, I won't ruin the whole thing, but it involves a industrial washing machine. And there's just some wonderful deaths in it. I think that at the end it probably goes a little bit off the rails. I think, as I said, I think they get a little too out there with and it's not this movie's fault. It happens with a lot of these movies when they try to expand and do too much of the lore. I mean, then it just goes a bit over the top. I would have preferred it to stay more contained, but for the most part, I thought that the action and stuff is hilarious. Some of it's really, really funny. Some of it's properly gory. I don't really think any of it didn't work for me.
Yeah, but I think there's a sequence in the woods that really you have to suspend your disbelief. And I know in a movie like this, you have to do that anyway, but it's the two of them. They don't have any weapons. They're handcuffed, and Sarah Michelle Gellar and her brother are there. Sarah Michelle Gellar has a gun. The other guy has an axe, and they get away. And it's just like, oh, for fuck's sake. When it works, it works. And like the washing machine sequence that you're talking about is fantastic. There's the thing in the ballroom that we'll get to in spoilers, but there's just random kind of lazy moments. Like there's one part where there's a guy and he's literally he's walking in an open corridor, looking down the corridor with a fucking machete or something going, girls, and he looks to his left, looks to his right, and then suddenly they're in front of him with a laundromat basket rolling and just smack him. And just, how did he not see them? It's just, yeah, moments like that. But in a movie like this, it doesn't really matter. The set pieces, for the most part, are kind of inventive. They're brutal, and some of them are genuinely funny. And it's extremely, extremely bloody. And I love the way, just there's nothing better than just practical blood splatter from somebody spontaneously combusting within 2 feet of a person. It's just fucking fantastic. It's grotesque in all the best ways. It's just, it's amazing. You do wonder, are they going to run out of road if this does quite well? Because if you think about it, the character Samara, like I do love as well the fact at the start where she is in hospital after the first night's ordeal, but she's in handcuffs because the cop is there, and he's just like, well, she's like, why am I handcuffed? She's like, well, you're the sole survivor of a fucking massacre in a mansion. And then the very next, everyone's blood is all over you. And then now, the next day, it's like, this happened 2 days. It's a horrible fucking weekend for this lady. She's now been another survivor of a whole fucking massacre on a golf course resort. So where do you go from there? Yeah, in terms of cinematography, we just touched on it already, like from the opening shot when it's kind of a single shot. I was like, ooh, they're really kind of ramping it up a bit in terms of the technical kind of mastery. But they kind of ease off from then, and it is the same cinematographer, but it all looks pretty good. You know, there's no complaints there. It's one of those where it just lacks that claustrophobic nature of the first movie that I really enjoyed. But the expanded kind of location gives the director and cinematographer, you know, a chance to do different sequences in different scenarios, and different locations, which works in its favor.
I'm not going to complain. I thought it looked great for the most part. I think that use of practical effects as well is just phenomenal. Like some of the deaths, I can't wait to talk about now in the spoiler section because some of them are just fantastic.
So yeah, speaking of that, before we get into spoilers, then let's give it a star rating. What would you give this?
Yeah, I wouldn't go quite as high as say 4. I think 3.5 is a good, like a really good 3.5. Which is really what I was hoping for. I think with any movie like this, you're paper thin on script. It's not getting the kind of choreography, fights, and all the rest of it because she isn't. There are our heroes and even the villains none of them are experts at fighting, as it comes across. Same in the first one, and so you're not getting crazy ass choreography and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I expect it to be just kind of, you know, a bloody battered 2 of them fighting against everybody else, and that works fine for it. I think with expanding something like this, I think it's always can be dangerous. It always can be difficult. I'm not sure if they really hit it when it comes to the ending, which we can discuss now in a minute. But I think 3.5 is a fair score. So that's what I go.
Yeah, I was thinking 3 myself, but I'd probably go 3.5 because I did have a riotous time watching it. It plays it safe, which works for it and against it. But and the ensemble cast, not as strong as the first movie, but two-hander from Samara and Catherine is fantastic. Elijah Wood is brilliant. And as mad as the character turn of the kind of main villain, he's fantastic. I really enjoyed his turn to the dark side, if you will. He's fucking ridiculous. And it's just bloody and funny. And the ceiling for a movie like this is probably like 4 stars. So on those little nitpicks, just bring it down slightly. But yeah, 3.5 stars from both of us. Go see it as soon as you can. Try and see it in cinemas. Okay, so if you're leaving us there, thank you. We'll catch you on the next one. But now we're going to jump into some spoilers because there's a lot of gory fucking madness in this movie.
Well, let's just maybe we could just touch because I've mentioned the end multiple times and not kind of I think that because we're getting into the full on, like obviously your Hail Satan stuff, but when we get into the end of it, we've gotten a whole host of extra characters that are into it now from the different families and all the rest of it. In this essentially secret society of Satanists, and it's with Elijah Wood putting on the helmet and they're having the wedding and it's just they're kind of making Elijah Wood almost says it himself that we're kind of just making this up as we go along because the marriage itself is a loophole for her to get out of getting killed. And then can she just throw it away? Who owns the ring? And he's like, oh, I don't know. There was never really any bylaws written for this.
Yeah.
They're kind of just
that's the part that is like,
you're kind of just making it up, really making it up as you go along. And so when it really kind of at the end of it, I do love her characters. Like way she has that face off with him and kills him. It's fucking awesome. She's just like, it's overkill, and that is class.
But like 20 times.
Yeah, I think maybe it's the whole way they just kind of pass it off as we don't really know what the rules are anymore. Like, as well, you either do or you don't, because people are gonna explode. They literally explode. So you must know something. Like,
wrong,
what? Like, is this not written down somewhere, or is there someone you can call? But then once they start. When they go into the pit to have that fight, and it's just people fucking stabbing each other, it's hilarious, absolutely hilarious. What was your favorite kind of the death scenes?
I guess, well, my favorite sequence, I don't know if she dies in the sequence, but it is the wedding reception when she has that face off with one of the other ladies when she arrives in with the fucking bazooka, I think. She's like, yeah, fuck you cunt, and then fires the bazooka backwards, and then they actually just have a full-on fight. But the twist is there's a can of pepper spray, and they end up spraying each other, so they can't see, so they're just fucking wailing around, just hitting nothing, just jumping over nothing and falling over tables.
But that shot is fantastic, because there are two of them. I think we're cutting between their fight and the fight you mentioned earlier between Titus and Faith, and so we're cutting between the two of them. And so when it cuts back to them, the music stops, and it's the two of them are like 8 feet apart and just swinging because they can't see anything. And it's just the way it's just a single wide shot with no music of just hitting nothing, and it's perfectly placed. It got a proper laugh out loud for me, that one.
Yeah, no, that was fantastic. And I guess the scene that's intercut with, which I kind of alluded to earlier, where he's just kind of beating the fucking shit out of her, out of Faith in the corridor, and it's just kind of gruesome, and I just loved the way it was cut in between this. Holy fuck, you see Faith with mouth full of blood, just getting kicked in the fucking ribs, and just and then cutting back to these two fucking yabos just falling around the fucking wedding tables and giant fucking ballroom. But I absolutely love that. But yeah, the one you spoke of in the giant washing machine was like, fuck, I didn't know how that was going to go.
He comes out and his just face is burned off to bits. Everything, it's just brilliant. But it's just that banging, because they're looking at each other like what to do, and you can just see boom, 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 as he's getting smacked around inside this thing. It's just, it was one of the really good death scene, that one.
I think when brother and sister, like Sarah Michelle Gellar and your man Titus, when they have their scene where he essentially gets Sarah Michelle Gellar in a fucking headlock and fucking properly crunches her fucking like a proper neck break, where it's like you feel a crunch. It's just like, Jesus fucking Christ, he went there. And that was like a little bit of a shock, but that's kind of in the middle of point of the movie where it starts to get a little bit muddled. It's starting to trip over its feet in terms of what's the loophole here now, because the minute that Samara has said to Titus, like, if you marry me, you can have the throne, and I survive, or whatever. And the minute they do that, it does get a little kind of muddled. And I just loved the way that it just took a swing like that, and it said, fuck it, we're going to do a wedding, and we're going to, get into the weeds in terms of the lore, which I don't think quite stuck the landing, but there's nothing better than that last shot or one of the final shots where you see the pit, and you see a couple of people exploding from within it, and then the whole pit just explodes into a fucking tunnel of water up to the ceiling. You're just like, oh yes, please. That was, it's very hard to have nitpicks about a movie like this when it's deliciously entertaining. Actually, one of my favorite moments, when she actually puts on the ring after killing your man, she says, "Kneel, everybody." The goat kneels first.
Yeah.
See that? It's just like fucking brilliant. He's not been sacrificed, but he still kneels. But it will be interesting to see where they go with this, if they did expand it. And so, like, now day 3, she's out in the city, and there's, give him a bigger budget, and it turns into kind of a John Wick thing then, where she's trying to survive from overseas families coming to the fucking city to kill her or something. Yeah, who knows? Make a nice trilogy out of it.
Yeah.
See how mad they can go. Okay, so that is 3.5 stars. Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. Check it out in cinemas. It is deliciously gory nonsense. Lots of fun. Thanks, as always, to everyone for liking, subscribing, sharing, and everything in between. And we will be back next week with another movie. Take it easy.